Human trafficking in the United States. In the United States, sex trafficking victims are usually given a quota of anywhere from $500 and up per night. Trafficking cases have been reported in every state, and anyone can be victimized. Brothels can be disguised as massage businesses, and victims may give sex anywhere from 20 to 48 times a day. About $9.5 billion is made in the U.S. from human trafficking each year. In the U.S., about 300,000 children are eligible for prostitution. 1 in 3 teens on the street will be pulled into human trafficking within 2 days of leaving their home. Victims are on average 11 to 14 years old. Children can be used in sweatshops, construction areas, in restaurants, and as domestic servants, and many more areas. And women experiencing trafficking do not realize what kind of situation they are in because they are forced to live this experience all the time with little outside contact besides through their work.
Democratic Republic of Congo. The Democratic Republic of Congo is a country located in Central Africa. It borders the Central Republic and South Sudan. It is the fourth most populated nation in Africa, with a population of 4,366,266 people. The size of the country is 2,344,858 square kilometers, covering a land area larger than the combined territories of Spain, France, Germany, Sweden, and Norway. It is a key spot for a wide variety of exports and an abundant agricultural system. In addition, it is also the 19th most populous country in the world. Congo is Tier 3. What it means to be Tier 3. This is basically the bottom of the ranking scale. It is the lowest score a country can get. It means that the government is not compliant with the standards of the Trafficking Victim Protection Act. The government is not trying to find a solution, and rather than protecting the trafficked individuals, they're victimizing them. Men and boys are often placed into debt bondage, forced to work for below market prices. Men and children are forced to mine for minerals and loot for them as well for their captors. Women and girls are placed into tent or hut-based brothels. If they try to escape to other countries, they run the risk of getting captured into another human trafficking ring. They are forced into prostitution, domestic servitude, and agricultural labor. Victims have been held as slaves for long periods of time, and sexually assaulted violently by several men several times a day, often in front of their parents, husbands, or relatives. Due to the never-stopping sexual abuse, AIDS has become a growing problem in the country. About 74,500 people per year are diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. Hopefully, in the future, we'll be able to see these numbers go down as well as the numbers of the human trafficking.
Croatia gained its independence from Yugoslavia on June 25, 1991. The government has not fully complied to the minimum standards for eliminating human trafficking, but are making significant efforts. Therefore, Croatia is classified as a Tier 2 nation. Women, children, and men are subject to sex trafficking and forced labor. Croatian women are subject to sex trafficking in Croatia and throughout Europe. Foreign women are also victims of sex trafficking in Croatia. People who are subject to forced labors are usually in agricultural settings. Children on the Adriatic coast are in danger of being forced into prostitution, especially during tourist season. The Council of Europe had concluded that the number of incidents of human trafficking is higher than the Croatian government reported. The Croatian government leaders have sustained funding for human trafficking victims' protection, and the leaders have continued to investigate and prosecute cases of human trafficking. The European Commission Monetary Report has stated that the amount of people punished for trafficking offenses is too low to deter other criminals.
Iran is located in the Middle East, surrounded by other countries, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Turkey. It borders the Persian Gulf. The U.S. State Department called Iran a presumed source, transit, and destination country for men, women, and children subjected to sex trafficking and forced labor. Between 35,000 and 50,000 children are forced by their parents or other adults to beg in the capital Tehran's streets or to work in sweatshops. There is an estimated 84,000 girls involved in prostitution. child prostitution has been growing. In 2005, it went up 635%. Girls from ages 8 to 17 are trafficked, usually working as maids until they are old enough to work as prostitutes. Most girls are in prostitution are living on the streets, the others in brothels. There are 250 in the city of Tehran alone. Drug-abusing parents sell their daughters into prostitution. Over 50% of the Iranian people are involved in drugs, and at least 53% of the people are living in poverty, so women often turn to offers of marriage. Iran is a Tier 3 country, meaning it has done nothing to comply with human trafficking regulations. It has earned the lowest possible ranking on handling human trafficking every year since 2006. Tehran newspaper reports show that senior government officials have been involved in trafficking and prostitution. They have even been profiting from this prostitution. Since regulations are so lax, no one can be sure of these statistics. There are probably many more women and children that have been victimized by this trafficking.
Mexican human trafficking. Mexico is a federal republic in North America and Central America. It is bordered on the north by the United States and in the south and west by the Pacific Ocean. Mexico is home to 122.3 million people. Approximately 36 of them are current victims of human trafficking, 60,000 of which are children currently involved in prostitution, pornography, and sex tourism. 20,000 young women and children will be trafficked across Mexican borders this year. Many of the women and children who serve the sex tourism industry in Mexico practice what is called survival sex, the act of selling their bodies in order to survive and support their families. Tourists rationalize their sexual encounters with women and children who practice survival sex by believing the idea that they are helping these women and children financially. In addition, paying for the services allows the tourists to convince themselves that they are helping the people escape economic hardships. Tier 2. Mexico is considered to be a Tier 2 country. What it means to be a Tier 2 country is that they have a government that does not fully comply with the Traffic Victim Protection Act's minimum standards, but are making significant efforts to bring themselves into compliance with those materials. Fact: innocent people are deceived, then bought and sold like property. Women and children are tricked in order to bring them into the human trafficking business, something that is very common in Mexico. With false promises of a better future, women and children are led to believe they will have a better life once they cross the border from Mexico to the United States. Usually, the people who make them believe this also say they will cross at no price. However, at the end of the trip, these women and children are charged their debt. They're forced into prostitution, domestic service, and forced labor. Those who fail to pay are terrorized, emotionally, forced to take drugs, locked up, raped, beaten, deprived of sleep, and starved. According to the U.S. Health and Human Services report, trafficking victims share common characteristics that make them vulnerable to traffickers. They come from communities with high crime rates. They lack opportunities for education. They lack family support, are orphaned or not runaways, have family members collaborating with traffickers, or have history of physical or sexual abuse. We must remember that slavery is still happening today. It is called human trafficking, and it happens everywhere in the world. Let's fight for a change.